We're recording? You recording?
You're frozen, but yes.
Are we recording?
You're good.
Am I good now?
Yes.
All right. Welcome, one and all. Welcome back to Brothers on Air.
Yep.
And after that dead silence, we shall begin with this podcast. Thomas, tell the people what you're drinking.
I don't really know. It's supposed to be like sweet tea, but like it's not. It's just watery leaves. Honestly, it's just like it's like they just like went in there and like with some leaves, and then that's about it. So I don't really know. It's not very good right now, but
it's gross.
It's
I'm drinking
liquid.
tea as well, but it's warm and very good.
Nice. Nice.
All right, let's hop into this episode. What are we watching here today, Thomas?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the super fan here.
We're watching the one and only The Two Towers. Second episode, second rendition of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movie trilogy series.
Yes, sir.
So let's just hop right in. I'm just gonna give a little synopsis. This movie is hella long, so I'm just gonna do a very.
I mean, is it? The last 5 movies we've done have been the same length.
Hey, listen. No,
they have been.
They're all the same length. That doesn't mean that this movie isn't long.
Yeah,
They're all long.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah. All right.
Give me a synopsis.
Synopsis. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head as much as I remember, and if I miss something, which I probably will, Thomas, or you know what, I might miss some things. Just leave it.
All right.
I'm just gonna skim. We can go over it.
Sounds good.
So it opens with Gandalf fighting the Balrog.
Oh!
No, Gandalf. He's not fighting him. Does a little flashback to when he goes, "You might not pass," and then they fall down the well of darkness or the pit. Which also, like thinking of it, I'm just gonna say this. Yeah, you know what? No. We can continue. I just thought of this. All right. Gandalf falls down, gives you a little what's the word called when you kind of foreshadow? There you go. Look at that. Found it myself. A little foreshadow that Gandalf didn't die immediately. That he went and battled him. Is your wife home?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, babe.
Hey.
I'm recording.
Like you're actively recording right
Yeah.
now? Oh, hello.
Hello. All right. Are you ready? 3,
Yeah.
2, 1. Back in the action, ladies and gents. My mic probably didn't even pick up like me slapping. It just
Nope. Literally silence.
All right. Sorry for that little cut of delay. Thomas, his dog started having a heart attack, so we had to save him. Did CPR. It's crazy. But all right, we're back in the action.
There was a baby on just hanging off the balcony. I had to go save.
All right, Gandalf falling to the pit, and then Frodo wakes up, and you see him where him and Sam are laying there chatting. Actually, I don't know if this happens then, but I'm just gonna lump them together. And then the old Schmeagol or Gollum encounters them, and they take him prisoner. And Gollum says that he will lead them to the Black Gate. So that is what they do. Next, we look at the 3 wise men, Aragorn, the elf, and Gimli, Legolas. I forgot his name for a second. They are chasing down Merry and Pippin and the Uruk-hai that have them. They run into.
Also, last week we 1,000%. Sorry, I wrote this down, but like 1,000% switched their names, Merry and Pippin. 1,000%. Yep.
I know which one is which though. No.
Yeah, I know. We just mixed them. Anyway.
Mary's the more like, and Pippin's like the guy who holds the ball, right?
The dumb one.
In the next movie.
The dummy.
The orb.
Big,
the dumb one.
Big dummy dum dum.
They run into riders of Rohan, who inform them that they have slaughtered the Uruk-hai pack, and they didn't leave any alive. So they go and check the scene. Somehow, Legolas can read the tracks of 2 little dwarfs. That scene baffles me to this day.
It was Aragorn.
And they found out that Aragorn. What did I say?
Legolas.
I meant Aragorn. I'm missing probably a lot. I don't even know. This movie bounces so much.
It does.
Merry and Pippin run into the Greybeard, and as the three group. I don't like saying their names separately all the time.
Trio.
The trio run into the forest. They run into none other than Gandalf the White.
Ooh.
Which they go over to Rohan, where the bewitched king is sitting ruling over, and Gandalf has a cool scene where he battles Sauron through the body of the king, and banishes him. And then so they get that. What's happening with Frodo and Sam? Let's check in on them. They get to the Dead Marshes, I think it's called, the marshlands. They are trying to get across that. Now let's hop back to the action. There's not much really happens there.
Yeah, it's true.
Where was I? Oh yeah, Rohan and them are like, yo, we gotta flee to what? What is that place called?
Helm's Deep.
The Lonely Mountain. Helm's Deep. So they go to Helm's Deep. They have a battle with a bunch of Uruk-hai. This is quite in advance, but hopping back to Frodo and Frodo and Sam. Is this when they get captured?
There's like, dude, honestly, now that you're trying to go through this, there's so many jumps in this movie. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Bro, I'm like thinking of the battle. Yeah. All right. Frodo and Sam get captured by Boromir's brother, Boromir, I think his name is.
Something like that.
He takes them in the ring to some castle outside of his big place. I forget what it's called. What's the white tree?
Minas Tirith.
Castle called Minas Tirith. So it's like right out of that.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. Something with an O.
And so they continue to go. I don't know. Did I get everything?
Yeah, kind of. Pretty much.
Basically. I mean, it ends with...
Gollum is now leading them to Mordor. There's that.
Yeah. But he's conniving little worm.
And there was a battle at Helm's Deep.
Covered that.
Yeah. Basically, they were looking for the hobbits. They found that they went missing. They met up with Gandalf, and they went to battle. And then Frodo and Sam are trying to get to Mordor, run across Gollum, convince him to lead them to Mordor, and they get captured in the end and then let go. That's There's the synapse right there. That's just the synapse. You gave the synopsis.
Straight facts.
So,
all right, let's start with this opening scene.
Okay.
I just have one comment on this opening scene. When Gandalf is falling down the pit.
Yes.
It looks pretty good, kind of seeing the Balrog again, right?
All right.
Because it's kind of just cool. But honestly, some of the CGI on like Gandalf's lighting when he's falling down look kind of whack to me. It doesn't look that bad, but just like the lighting gets a little rough in some spots, and I'm like,
sure. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
When he's like, wait, was this in the opening scene? When he like falls down, and the sword was like tumbling, and then he comes straight into it and grabs. That was sick. That was the coolest thing.
Yeah. I like so he just kind of like comes together. So eventually, like he's fighting him, and he gets like to the low. It's like an analogy of like he fights him at the lowest place, and then all the way up to like the highest mountain, and he finally kills the Balrog. What a dope scene where he like Thor's lightning out of the sky and stabs him in the chest.
Yeah.
And then, like, I like that whole thing because it gives, like, mystery again to, like, what Gandalf and, like, wizards are. Because he's, like, I faded into darkness between, like, space and time and, like, non-existence almost. But then I woke up again to complete my mission. And you're just like, what the heck is a wizard? And then, like, the next time you see him, he's, like, the White Wizard. Which is cool.
You are correct, sir. I'm looking at the the map of Middle Earth. Yeah, I thought the other cool scene in that, I don't know if it was, again, I'm pretty sure it wasn't the intro, but when they were falling and it pans out and they fall into that like underground like lake, that was so sick too. Just to show like scale, it was awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. All right, we get to.
I think the next thing. I think the next thing is Frodo and Sam meeting Gollum.
And Smeagol. And Gollum.
Awesome meeting scene. So cool. So good.
For all skin and bones, How is Gollum that strong? He's like throwing these hobbits around and like tussling them, and he's literally just like bones. You can see like his cartilage. It's disgusting.
You're not wrong.
I don't get it.
Dude.
Maybe it's just like the urge to get the ring back.
Yeah, I mean, he's you know, he's got no fat, so the only thing he does have is muscle.
Yeah.
So
I
read some
scene.
Yes.
I was gonna say, imagine like that scene in the context of like Smeagol or Gollum lost that ring like 60. I guess by book standards like 80 years ago, and now he's finally seen it around like the neck of Frodo for the first time in a while, like this the precious, and like the scene where he's like trying to reach you with his fingers and his face just goes like he's like, oh god, sorry I burped, and he's like trying to get it, and he just gets like super concentrated, not even like angry looking.
And he's like so close to it. Does he? He doesn't ever touch it again, right? Until like Mount Doom.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I thought that scene was really good. I was reading about Andy Serkis, and originally he wasn't going to. He was just gonna like read the lines, like obviously, like he did.
Yeah.
But Peter Jackson thought it'd be a good idea for him to like motion capture the character as well, which I'm sure you already knew. But I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And so he literally acted out the entire like thing of Gollum, like from voicing to like motion capturing and everything. So apparently he would walk on all fours for like hours at a time, and people would be like, "What the heck are you doing?" and like questioning him and stuff. But
that's dope though.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting to read about. Also, apparently his favorite scene he ever shot was with when he finds the rabbits later in this movie, and he like spits at Sam. Yeah. That was like actually Andy Serkis like spitting at him, like, which was really funny. So apparently that was his favorite scene he shot, which was kind of funny. But yeah,
he kills it as Gollum,
dude.
It's
honestly.
so good. But there's a little Sting reference back to him who's like you've seen it before.
Yeah.
So like little reference, but other than that, I don't really have much on that.
I wrote cool scene again with Saruman. Don't really remember what this scene was. I watched this movie a week ago. I don't remember.
I'm guessing when he's like in the pits and stuff, talking about like who has the ability to stand against the armies of Sauron and Saruman. And then he's
and then he was also like gathering or like what's it called?
The men.
Maybe gathering, like the wild people and stuff to like get them going. Yeah.
That always like is so weird to me.
Yeah, I know,
just
right?
like he just like has a random group of guys, and he's like, "Go kill him!" And they're like,
"Yeah."
What the heck? Like, who is this group, man?
That's so true.
Like,
yeah.
I wrote down right before that. You get a little glance of Uruk-hai. They're like running with Merry and Pippin. The scene where like Pippin bites like the little leaf off and spits it on the ground.
Yeah.
But like that scene, and then later when like they drop in like the dark right before they get like killed, is really cool to kind of just see like the back and forth and like the talkings of Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
Like you don't really see like interactions of like orcs that much or like Uruk-hai that much between them.
Yeah, they gave them like personalities.
Yeah.
More so than like, anything else.
The whole scene when they stop and they're like contemplating like wanting to eat the hobbits or something is so funny. The different like characters of like each of them, and then one's like that one that is like talking at first. She's like, "Hey, look fresh," and then the next one was like really old and like dusty. It's just like weird.
Yeah.
Also, I have another thing on that scene. I don't want to skip ahead. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna skip ahead. I don't care. That orc that tried to kill the Merry and Pippin took a whole spear in the lower spine and just kept on walking. Like it hit him directly in his spine, dude. Like whatever. He just gets up and just chases him through a forest.
I'm curious if you feel the same way about this, because you're the guy that's like, I hate it when they do stuff for fan service.
What?
Legolas has like a bunch of little lines in this whole like scene where they're like tracking the orcs up until finding them, that he just says for the audience that really irritated me. I don't remember the exact lines now because, like I said, I watched this movie like a week ago and took notes on it and stuff. But
like they run as though the whips of their slaves or the whips of their masters are behind them. He says that.
Yeah, he just says he has like 4 comments that are just like, okay. When he said they're taking the hobbits to Isengard, I laughed because how could you not? But they were just. I just remember when they were close. He said something, and when they actually found like the pile of people, he said something, and I was just like, it was literally just for the audience. That it was just kind of gross writing to me.
I guess. I don't know. It's something to like fill the dead airspace. Otherwise, it'll just be like that whole time will just be panning over them to be like, oh, look, they're still chasing them. And then they go to something else. It's like they're still chasing them, but they say nothing. Yeah. So like, I kind of get it. And I agree that whole time I'm just like, why is he saying this? But like, I get why they did it. Because it would just be like...
Legolas, what's your LFIC?
Oh, yeah.
I have a meme. Yeah. I have a meme that says, that's like, Legolas, what are your egg IC? And it's just like, him like, with just eggs, and it's just egg.
Oh my god. Literally such a brain dead meme. Also,
that's amazing.
There's a scene where, going forward, when they all, the Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli, the Riders of Rohan. Yeah. Like, they all surround him, and then Gimli is just being, like, a brute, and he's, like, and the guy, I forget the rider's name, but the main guy is, like, I would cut your head off if it didn't stand but a few feet higher off the ground or something. And then Legolas, like, this is the first time that he, like, backs Gimli up when he, like, pulls an arrow, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you if you do that.
It's funny, because, like, Gimli wasn't even, like, that, like, aggressive. He was just, like... No. How about you tell me your name and I'll tell you mine? Like, that was literally it. And he's just like, I would kill you, you know, if you were taller. And it was like, all right, bro, chill.
Going for throats out here.
That's like when you, like, bump into someone and you're like, sorry. It's like, you want to fight? It's like, bro, settle. It's like, same thing.
I mean, he did just get, like, banished from his homeland.
I mean, sure. It was just funny. It's like...
No, yeah. And then he, like, 180s and just, like, gives him 2 horses.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Super weird.
But, yeah. And then, so they go to the pile, and there's the classic scene that there's a bunch of memes where you need when you're, like, trying not to, the toe break scene. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that.
There's the classic scene where Aragorn kicks a helmet, and it's, like, the 15th take, and on the last take, he breaks a toe. And so that scream that he does is like an actual yell. Yeah. What? He broke 2 toes? Yeah. Oh. Whatever. But yeah, I think somebody else like broke their hand or like fractured something. I'm sure there was injuries all over it. Yeah. It was like a year-long process. I think somebody fell off. No.
Yeah. Legolas fell off a horse and cracked 2 ribs.
Oh, okay, that's what happened. I was thinking of what's
his name? Way again? Oh my god.
Dog.
What is going on? Dude, this episode is just wrought with problems right now. Yeah. Alright, we're good.
Yeah, alright. Also, back to the scene. There's legit... Do you have to edit your focus at all? God, you're like 8-bit right now. What the heck?
What?
Why are you so pixely?
I'm not.
You look so pixely. I can see individual pixels right now.
I'm fine on my screen.
You said 240p right now. Okay, you're better. Okay, you're a lot better now. I just took a moment.
All right, back to normal. Sorry.
The scene where Aragorn is tracking the hobbits is the dumbest thing to me. It is so dumb. This dusty ground that was just like a bunch of orcs and like were just slaughtered. Horses are walking everywhere. They dragged all the bodies into a pile and burned it. And yet these little tracks just stay there. Like the ground there's wind. It's gonna wash away these. It's so annoying. It literally makes me mad. He's like, a hobbit lay here. And here. What are you talking about? There's literally no way you could see that. It's so dumb. It is so dumb.
I wasn't as personally offended by it as apparently you were, but I mean,
Every time,
a little bit. I was just like, all right. I mean, whatever. But you know,
every time I'm like, this makes no sense. Like, there's no way you could track their tiny little feet through like the
tiny,
massive
bro.
mayhem.
What do you mean tiny?
Okay, they're still small. Their feet are just big relative to them. They're
Okay,
still like.
fair.
Did you see when they walked past the horse? They didn't even come up to like the horse's knee.
They walked under it.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, bro, and you're telling me that like horses and men and orcs running around and being slaughtered aren't gonna like.
I was just like,
Over
whatever.
a
I
foot.
didn't
Like,
really
oh
care
my
for that
God.
scene that much.
I just like I've watched these movies a lot, and every time I see this scene, I'm like, this is just so stupid to me. Like it's I mean, it's like it makes sense. You just gotta progress it, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's an easy way to like track that they're still alive in like kind of a cool way
Yeah.
that you find out that they're still alive. But it's like, oh, it's so unrealistic. But I guess that's a nitpick for me.
Maybe a little bit. Who knows?
But yeah.
Anyway, but speaking of the hobbits, though, they go into the forest. They're, chased after against by this guy that should have been killed somehow, but isn't.
Yeah, they do.
And they find Mr. Treebeard. First off, do you know Treebeard is voiced by the same guy as Gimli?
Yeah, you told me that. I think Oh no, I think you told me it.
Oh, I told you this past weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty interesting. I did not know that. Also, they did not change his voice at all. I don't know if I told you this either, but they it's just him speaking in the lowest voice he can through like a wooden megaphone.
That's dope. What the heck?
Yeah. So if you like watch
That's
back,
really
it's
cool.
like, oh yeah, it really is him. But just like literally, it's just him
Yeah.
speaking like as low as he can.
I was trying to pay attention to that, and because I think Gimli has like the last line before it pans into the forest to find them, and I was like, okay, let me remember how he spoke that, and then like the Treebeard started talking. I was like, honestly, I can like kind of tell like the similarities.
Yeah.
But first of all, Treebeard always looks so good to me.
Yeah.
Like how he's animated, it just looks so.
He
clean.
still looks
I don't know
good.
why.
I think like
Yeah.
he looks good. Like how they're like panning it behind or like they're shot behind them. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That looks kind of crap now, like 20 years later. But like whatever, like the animatronics of him and like the animation of him is still super good.
I wonder if they like built like a to scale model of him. I'm guessing they did.
Yeah.
Or to scale, not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They. I read a thing. The two actors like sat up there like even during lunch breaks because it was too much. It was like too much work to get them up and down. So they would just like throw their lunches up to them like type deal.
That's so funny.
Because they were up there for so long. So.
I didn't catch this before, but they call him like an int, like like the classic keeper of the forest tree things.
Sure.
Right? I think Mary goes like you're an int or whatever. And I didn't really catch that. And like I mean even if they aren't considered that, they like basically kind of are of that like same deal. It's actually really cool though cuz I never caught that and I like how like Tolkien, most ints are just like fairies, right? Like these little like kind of women fairies that like prance around like in Hercules when that what's his name? That goat guy is trying to like grab an int before she like runs away and kind of being creepy. But like I like the ints here how they're just like old stoic trees.
Yeah.
They're not like these like fairies that kind of like fly around that are like can turn into a tree. They're like the trees of the forest. They are the nature. I think that's just dope.
Right.
But yeah, that's
it does cut to the marsh scene after this. I don't really have much to say about it, other than it was like kind of trippy when he like falls in the water.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was kind of funny because that day I went and play a certain swampy course of disc golf, and I was like, this is literally like playing that place after it rains. So.
That's disgusting. I did have like right before that the scene where Frodo calls Smeagol for the first time. It's kind of crazy because like I was just kind of I was thinking about it in context because I was like because he was like my name type thing like and like right before that you kind of hear Gandalf be like oh yes that's what they called me and it was kind of like nonchalant so it's pretty easy to look over it but it's like Smeagol has been in isolation for like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Like this is most definitely the first time, and like like he's called Gollum because of cough, not because like anybody gave him that name. Because like his little like thing sounds like him saying Gollum, right? So it's like this is legitimately the first time someone has looked him in the eyes and called him Smeagol for like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, it is just wild.
Also,
I was thinking of that. Like that's a powerful scene right there.
Speaking of Smeagol, Gollum, I'm sure you know this, but I also read that Andy Serkis based like how he acted and like the voice and everything off of like a crack addict.
Oh, really? I did not
Or
know
maybe
that.
it was heroin.
That's wild.
I don't remember, but a drug addict basically.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Jeez.
But yeah, that whole march
that makes
scene
sense.
was, I don't know, it was I don't really have many things to say
the
about
scene,
it.
I like the more about them, like a little scene before like we can bounce around. The scene where like Gollum is having that like bipolar almost like moment where he's talking to like the two sides of him, like like Gollum and Smeagol, when they're like just like going back and forth. It's actually like really cool to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. They like kind of play around. Like I was kind of looking at some reviews and stuff, and they play around with like breaking the viewer's like line. So like when there's like dialogue between two people, it's usually like over one shoulder, and like the other person like if it's over my shoulder, I'll be on the right, the other person will be on the left, and they swap, right? You don't really like cross like I forget what they call it, but it's like a line between the two people. Like I guess like a horizon almost. I don't know, but like you don't really cross that, and when you do, like you usually like pan behind someone, and then like boom, now I'm on the right or the left of the screen, and that he was on the right.
All right.
And it's like in this scene they just are kind of swapping between it because like Smeagol's looking one way and then Gollum's like kind of looking the other way, and like it kind of is but kind of isn't because you're just like in front of him, but like he is still kind of like panned on one side so it doesn't look like too dramatic, but like the camera's like kind of constantly doing that, which is kind of cool to me.
And even in that same vein, at the end of the movie, like the very end where Smeagol / Gollum is like conspiring like again because he was like, all right, actually no, these guys are good and I'm gonna be good, and then he kind of like flips again at the end. He like kind of does the same thing, but like he's like behind a tree on one side and he's like talking as one character, and then he'll go around the tree and he'll talk as the other. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that. Like they play a lot with that more like in the Hobbit. Actually, not more. They play a lot with that like in the Hobbit when like he's debating whether like you kill him or not or whatever when he's like coming Bilbo. Yeah. But like that whole thing, like that scene when like he breaks when he was captured by Faramir and he like throws him in a corner and he's like crying and all of a sudden like he's crying and then he like gets like all of a sudden be like Smeagol.
Oh
and
yeah.
He goes back to crying and it's like Smeagol. Like that scene is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Like,
his character is like, oh my goodness, really weird and creepy, but at the same time, if you like kind of look past it a little bit, he's also like really funny.
Yeah, yeah, and like I don't know, he does like evil stuff, like, and he's just like an evil guy, but like you can almost get like behind Frodo, being like you like pity him to some extent, especially like the Smeagol side.
Yeah, there's just times where I just like laughed, like for example when you were talking about like in the Hobbit where he's debating with Bilbo. I just loved it where he's like, oh yeah, if you lose, we eat the hobbitses, and he's like, this is what we'll do, and Bilbo's like, okay.
Yeah. I feel like there's more of that in that like scene in The Hobbit than even here.
Yeah, there's a lot less in these movies, but it's still pretty.
I mean, there's the one. I guess there's a scene when they're like making the potatoes.
Yeah, that's the one I was just thinking of. Yeah.
That scene is funny. I like that like interaction. He's just I don't know. I'm just thinking of it.
Yeah,
but also good. that look of him like eating the raw rabbit always gets me every time. Because he's just like pulling the flesh out. I'm like, whoa, all right. He actually just like took a chunk of that thing. But yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, so then after that, we cut back to the forest, and Gandalf comes back as Gandalf the White. Pretty cool little intro, I guess. I read something that you know how they thought it was Saruman. Well, they like took both of the characters' voices and like kind of like melded them together and had them both. It was kind of cool.
You can like hear it.
Yeah.
Like every time, like I'm like it's kind of wild because like every like couple words you can almost hear like one of them like taking dominance over the other, but like and then it kind of morphs into Gandalf. But yeah.
Also, Gandalf was like 300 years old, huh?
Yeah, he's old, bro.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I knew
he's
he was
wild.
old, but like
I mean,
he
like,
said he was there for like 300 years as Gandalf the Grey.
geez,
Yeah.
my goodness. I mean, he was there for like, yeah, there for a while. Yeah, I don't know.
So they meet him, and they go to Rohan. The scenery from them riding from the forest to Rohan was so cool, dude. That's like one of my favorite
Yeah.
things about these movies. It's just like the scenery that they like pan over. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so awesome. New Zealand
Yeah,
looks sick.
it's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, and then they go to see this king of Rohan, or I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
But
there's pretty cool little thing that goes on. Ooh, Theoden, King Theoden. Kind of a cool little like battle almost thing with Saruman through this guy. That was pretty cool. I like the whole transformation once he was like rid of him. The transformation from him being like old and gross to like normal still looks good.
Clean, to be honest.
It still looks good.
Yeah. That whole scene always like, even when I would watch them like later, I remember that scene like kind of creeped me out because like it's just so like,
it was like I remembered it being more creepy. Yeah. But
yeah, I don't know. It's obviously not as creepy now, but I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It was cool. I like that. I like that scene.
Yeah, the scene that follows right after that, honestly, is probably one of like the saddest scenes in Lord of the Rings, when the king is crying at his son's grave.
Yeah, because he wasn't like actually there.
Yeah, anytime you see like a grown man cry, it's just like, especially like, you know, the stature of the king and like a little bit more context, like that's very sad.
And like right after he says the line, like no parent should have to bury their child.
Yeah. Like that's just like, yeesh.
Yeah, it was pretty sad, especially just because like it was like just the whole like situation of it, because like he was like alive and around, but like he wasn't like present by any means. So your camera's going all crazy, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, sorry. I made the mistake of clicking on something on my computer, I guess.
Oh my
goodness.
Yeah. Oh, and then after that, it goes to the tater scene, because I wrote Gollum is like a real ugly puppy.
Yeah, and then they get captured. I honestly like am bored by all those scenes with like Faramir and stuff.
Oh,
like it's
utterly bored.
It just like, honestly, we could just run through them all right now. Like it gets so
boring,
and it's just like some random thing that just pulls you away from like Frodo. Like it just like, it's like, hey, Frodo and Sam, cool story. Hold on, come over here for like 20 minutes. All right, now you can go back. It's just like, it's so pointless, man. I
don't really understand why it was necessary, either in the book or the movie.
I don't know. I mean, like it introduces you to Faramir. Like the only thing I can think of is that it introduces you to Faramir, and like it as a character, and kind of tests him against like the ring, and you know how like he gives it up and like passes it. I mean, like, because the ring kind of tests like everybody in this movie at some point,
right?
And like he passes it up and like lets them go, which is like something that Boromir couldn't do. But then also, I guess, makes you a little connected to him when he comes into the third movie, when like his father's all crazy and trying to burn him or whatever. Right. But like, I don't know, like, it could have done that another way instead of taking 20 minutes and like some random fight scene at like some broken down town that's like been raided by orcs for the past like week or something.
Yeah,
and it's just like weird.
Where even is
you get the scene with like the ring wraith also coming in like 2 feet.
The Nazgul was kind of sick, not gonna lie.
Yeah, the Nazgul.
Osgiliath.
Like, cool, but also I'm like, yo, if I was that guy, I would have just hopped off that boy and landed down and like just grabbed the ring.
Yeah.
Why does he like only get the chance of swiping at him with the foot of his winged creature, and then he just flies away? Oh, because he gets an arrow in the neck.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, dude. You're an unkillable knight. Just drop off of it, land on the bridge, and then murk Frodo.
Osgiliath is like the last like fort / like outpost before Mordor. Also, I'm just noticing on this map they don't even like write or like say anything about where Mount Doom is. It's not on this map.
I don't
Super
know.
weird.
I mean, it's just a single volcano.
I know. Anyway,
I don't know.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So they were captured. Boring things happen. Oh.
Yeah.
So after the king comes back and sad things happen and such, they decide that they're going to go to Helm's Deep. Because it's a lot more defensible with their basically no army because the Riders of Rohan like left because of people. So they're on their way and there's like a battle scene and such, right? And like Aragorn is like dragged over a cliff by this like hyena thing because his like arm was stuck.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
All right.
I literally completely forgot about.
Listen, how did man survive that fall? All right.
So garbage.
Nah.
And then he like rides a horseback for like a week.
Yeah.
To get back to like the thing.
Nah.
And like, oh my goodness, it's so garbage.
Also, can we just acknowledge yet again, freaking Gandalf just leaving? He's like, peace out, guys. I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, he literally does that all the time. He's like super powerful, and he's just like, yo, I'll be right back. And he just leaves. Like, what the heck? He always like, no, he's the one who starts these quests as well.
He starts them like, and then like leaves, and he's like, listen, I'll be back to save the day, but you guys like almost die, and then I'll be there. All right, sound good.
I mean, to be fair, the first time he did almost like he almost died.
I mean, fair,
like
but
a demon.
It's just like it reminds me of like, oh, what was it? In Rick and Morty, where like Rick is in the premiere of season 3, where he's like trying to break out of this prison, and he like launches like a bomb or something like that. He's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah,
it's just like, funny. He like starts
all the time.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Gandalf, what he leaves the how many times does he leave the Hobbit group?
In the first movie,
2 times. Yeah. He scouts ahead during the trolls.
Right.
He leaves when they get to the entrance of the forest. Then is that the last time he leaves?
And then he finds them in the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they burst out and go there. And then
I mean, he left for like a full like movie basically.
Yeah, and then like during the time when Frodo gets the ring, then he leaves for 20 years. Comes back, starts some, or then comes back and then leaves again, and doesn't come to help to them at the Prancing Pony.
That's one thing we never mentioned, is that there was like a lot of time between Frodo getting the ring and Gandalf coming back, and they never like relayed that, which was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I mean it's like 20 years, and like it just kind of sits there, and like. This isn't necessary information. Like,
not
if you
really.
have the context of 20 years, you can kind of be like, oh, this ring has been a burden on him more than, like, 2 days.
Right.
So it's like been on him, and, like, the longer you have the ring, the more it, like, affects you. So it's been, like, 20 years, so you can kind of get why he's, like, being so susceptible to the ring so quickly.
Right.
So quickly, quote unquote. But it's, like, also, it's, like, I guess it adds more to, like, Gandalf having to find out about this ring if it took him like 20 years to literally find out that this ring was actually the one ring,
right?
Because that's how much they have forgotten about this thing since like the Second Age or whatever,
right?
But yeah. Also, one thing that I want to touch on that we haven't yet, just in case I don't forget, the main character of this movie
is Aragorn.
Is basically Aragorn.
I mean, let's be real. Past the last 2 movies, he's the main character.
Nah, I don't think the first one. I think this one. I don't agree with the first one.
No, that's what I'm saying. The last 2. The second and third movie.
The last 2? Oh, I don't know about the third one. I think Frodo takes more of a front seat in the third one. I have to rewatch it, but...
Yeah, same. I haven't watched it yet.
Definitely this one. Like, I mean, like, Aragorn's like, I don't know, what is his arc in this movie? Dude, Frodo literally just does nothing. Like, he's just kind of walking and then gets captured and then gets let go and continues to walk. Like, that's literally it.
Yeah.
That's legit all Frodo does in this movie. And like Aragorn is definitely the main character of this one. Which is kind of cool that like they have these many characters and they actually like are balancing them kind of well to the point where like it doesn't feel unnatural when they kind of bounce to Aragorn as like kind of the main character here. Mm-hmm. But like because Frodo still is like there. And if you kind of look at it like Frodo is still the quote unquote like protagonist because it's freaking Frodo and he's the One Ring. But like he can kind of take a side seat compared to Aragorn in this one.
Right.
And like still kind of live. Does Aragorn? No, he doesn't. He isn't really faced about being the one king, is he, in this movie?
No.
Yeah, no. He kind of like...
It's not even... I don't think it's even mentioned, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know, no, I think it is when he's... when they're in Rohan still and the king is, like, cleared and they're talking. That might be extended. I don't really know. But, like, I know the scene... Like, the scene that kind of, like, adds, I guess, like, a little arc. It's not really that much of an arc, I guess, of Aragorn is, like, the scene when, like, the battle's about to start. So they, like, gathered all, like, the men up. And they're all just, like, super young or super old.
Yeah.
And then, like, Aragorn and Legolas are having that scene of being, like, this isn't, like, they're in Elvish. Which, this scene is just funny to me. So, like, they're speaking in Elvish, and they're like, this is not an army. Like, these are a bunch of, like, older, young people. Like, we're gonna lose. And then... Aragorn says something and Legolas is like in Elvish. He's like, they will all die. And then Aragorn in English is just like, then I will die as one of them. Imagine being the soldiers around them, just like hearing this conversation in Elvish, and then all of a sudden Aragorn yells, then I will die as one of them. And they're just like, wait, what? What are you guys talking about? Like, that'd be so funny.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know, I think like that scene, I mean, definitely like is like this guy. It's like a heart for the people type thing. Doesn't give up. And then you have the scene after when like the kid there has like it's obviously like a crappy sword.
Yeah.
It's kind of like meh. And then Aragorn is like, come over here. And then he like kind of does like a cool swing thing. And he's like, this is a good sword. And then
I love how he doesn't even look around. Doesn't look around like, am I gonna hit anyone? No. All right.
No.
Just like
just like Gimli's walking over, just decapitates him.
It's like.
But, yeah.
Oh my gosh, just going at it over here. It's like, bro, chill.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
one thing I wrote before that happened just before all this stuff that you're talking about, when Aragorn like comes back on good horsey and it, like walks gets into the thing. Gimli like walks up to him without a helmet. You can really see just how much makeup is on this dude's face.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot.
It's wild.
Also, and then Legolas walks up to him and goes, you look terrible. It's like, all right, bro. Don't have to flame him just yet. Like, relax.
Fell off a mountain. It's like, all right, immortal elf. Sorry that he has wrinkles on his forehead. Right? But, like, also that, like, love scene, like, that... it still gets me. I don't know how I feel about, like, Aragorn and that other chick. Like, that, like, kind of, like...
Mm-hmm. The princess?
I don't know what the relationship or whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's like weird to me. Honestly, sometimes I want them. I wish that like that was a thing more than him and his elf. Because like I don't care about the elf. Like their relationship is so like nothing.
Yeah. It's
just like I don't even know. Also, but I also feel like she just for some reason fell in love with him in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm just like why? You didn't have any experience besides like him freeing your uncle, I guess.
Yeah.
And him in that little scene with a sword, like when he stops her, like that little when she's like in the hall
again dude. What is up with these people twirling swords and not like looking out for people around them?
Hey, the other people got to look out for them because they're the ones gonna get hurt.
Apparently.
All right, let's talk about the big cinematic.
Wait, not there yet. I wrote some other things.
God.
Listen,
what else do you have?
I wrote.
This film.
Right before this, when Aragorn was like getting ready and putting all his stuff on, that was a cool scene. I really like that.
That is.
Sure. And yeah, that's it. Then the battle comes.
Oh my gosh! You didn't even talk about Gimli like holding it up and dropping it. The actual funny part. You just like looking at this dude getting dressed. Dude,
it was a cool scene. It was like slow motion, like put on the mail, and like it was cool stuff. It was good cinematography, good lighting, good everything.
It was cool. So the battle.
Okay.
Field scene.
First thing of the battle scene that I thought was hilarious, they were all stacked up on the wall. They were watching the army walk in. Gimli's just there.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like Gimli trying to jump. I just realized this. Like he literally can't even peek when he jumps.
Nah.
Like he cannot jump at
Nah.
all. He just like the shortest legs. But yeah, that was fun.
And then
that little bit.
And then Legolas goes, he's like, "Would you like me to find you a box for you to stand on?" And he just looks at him and laughs.
That's great.
Like that was a cool scene because from them hating each other like just the movie before to him like threatening to kill a dude because he said he might cut his head off if he was taller, to them actually making jokes before they might die, and then like laughing at each other about it. Like it was a cool little like arc of friendship.
That was funny. I liked it. But then, they also like start counting kills, which
still amazing, still funny. I still love it.
I kind of like that. One thing that the counting kills thing, which I think this battle at the end reeks of, which I talked about before, is that it makes the main characters just feel invincible, and I don't like that. They no longer have this like fear that they're actually gonna die. Once they start counting kills, once Aragorn pushes over a ladder and jumps into like a pile of orcs, and Gimli just like freaking cannonballs into like 100 orcs. Once Gimli and Aragorn go 1 versus 1,000 on a bridge and live, like, bruh, they are like immortal. They're not gonna die.
Dude, they have plot protection, dude. All right. They have plot protection.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I'm just like, okay, it's cool and I like it. I don't hate it. Like I like it. It's
I
like
still
funny
liked
scenes. But it's like, dog.
I understand.
Legolas like slides on a shield down a staircase. He's like, bump, 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 like people. I'm like, what is this, dude? Like,
that is funny. I don't know. I still enjoy it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I like it. The scene is dope. One thing that annoys me every time. Let's just start from the beginning. The scene where they're just like painting over like all the army.
Yeah.
It's really dope, and it's just like quiet. It's like the first scene. And it's just like kind of panning over like
the old man lets an arrow go.
Yeah, but like before that even happens, you just like hear like the orcs kind of like marching towards, and you're like in the mindset or like the sound of like what like they would be. Like it's just silent, and then it starts like raining, and you're just like, oh, of course it's gonna rain tonight. Why wouldn't it rain right now? And then the orcs come up, and that old guy with cataracts literally just shot an arrow by accident.
That's
so funny though.
What?
Go. No, you go.
I was just gonna say the chants that the orcs are like doing when they're walking in. They recorded that at like a football at a soccer stadium, with like Peter Jackson like leading everyone, which was kind of cool. Also, this whole battle scene took 4 months to film.
That's legendary.
3 months at night, 1 month during the day.
I know they did. They built I think they built like this set 3 different ways. I think they did like a miniature version, a like scaled down version, and then like a big version of the door, so they could have like people kind of walking on like.
Do you know they made the door too well? So they had to use the legitimate battering ram.
That's so funny.
Yep.
I love that scene. I still love that scene when the battering ram comes in and you can kind of see it like underneath the shields and it starts kicking like orcs off the edge. And then like you can kind of see, something's getting pushed through.
Yeah.
And then it comes through. Like they don't care about their own. They're just
like, get out of my way. It's just overwhelming force. It's not it's a hammer instead of like an X-Acto knife. Like it's just like let's just get them instead of like hold on.
Yeah, throw everything at.
Yeah.
I said this last episode.
Yeah.
You know, you say it because mine goes into more of a idea. Continue. What you're saying, sir.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, you know, they start like fighting and stuff, and like it looks like all right, like we're okay, we might be fine, right up until like the explosion happens in the wall. But right before like that happens, the king's like, "So all you got, huh?" And then it's just like boom, and it's like, all right, bro, you had to say something, huh? You really had to say something.
Shut up. Yeah. Also, like that. Oh my gosh, the stupid Legolas can't bring him down. Come on now, man.
I mean, he hits him twice, to be fair. But, like,
this orc? Like, it's like the most beefiest dude takes 2 arrows, like, straight through the shoulder.
Yeah.
And he's still sprinting into this thing.
I like how at the end, he doesn't... I like how at the end, he just, like, trips in.
Yeah, he just hucks his
He's like running, and then he's just like... Like literally, that sound is made. Like it's like a squeal, and then he just falls in.
You know what's annoying is like, dude, this king and like these people like know of this fort and like know that it's impenetrable.
Yeah.
Yet this little slimy little worm guy that was like the right-hand man of the king is the only one that remembers about this freaking half thick steel gate that is there.
Dude.
Like a 3-foot wide gap. Like,
honestly,
how do you not remember that?
Honestly, this is just like tough looks for the architect of this place. Like, whoever that is just like.
I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess, that he wouldn't have known that Sauron would have made this new black magic
gunpowder.
But still, bro, like those steel gates, I could have kicked down with my foot and they could have just crawled.
Yeah, that's kind of like.
My goodness.
That's kind of like the dumb. That's so dumb.
Yeah, that's literally like the Death Star's little.
That's that's not even that. That's literally like Family Guy Death Star. Like, do you remember that scene where they're like going over it with like Darth Vader's Stewie? He's like, so it's completely good, right? Yeah, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Well, you have to take a breath there. Well, there's a small hole that if you hit it the very right thing, it'll blow up the whole thing. You think that'll happen? No, probably not. Literally, that is the same thing here. Like, built into a mountain with like 25-foot like thick walls, like totally like nothing, impenetrable. Oh, by the way, except for that little spot, just right there.
I mean, like, it's kind of important, not really important though we close it up or not. But like, let's just hope that they don't hit it. But also the scene in this where the like general of the elf army dies.
Yeah.
That scene gets me every time, and I'm like dumbfounded that I actually care about this character, but I do.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, he comes in like right at the beginning of this battle, and then he dies, and like I actually care that he died.
Yeah.
Like, that is good. Just, I don't even know what it was, but whatever Peter Jackson did, it was good because I actually cared about this character. And also, it's like sad because like literally the scene of him dying takes like 10 seconds, and like, you know, usually when like, somebody runs up to somebody dying and like grab him and they have this like last little dialogue, like Aragorn catches him and he just is dead.
Yeah, he's dead already.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, what?
Well, do you know
all that for nothing?
Do you know in the book the elves weren't even a part of this battle?
Really?
They only added them so that people wouldn't be like, where were the elves? Literally, not even kidding.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense kind of because people are dumb. But also, like, this is the whole thing about the Lord of the Rings is that like the time of the elves are over and this time of men now.
They weren't.
So, like,
they weren't there in the book because they were fighting people on their own borders. But that wasn't ever like communicated in the movie. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense for them to like put it in for that because they never really explained that. Yeah. But at the same time, it literally could have been one piece of dialogue that they wouldn't have to show up. You know what I mean? It could have been like, well, what about the elves? And Gandalf could have just been like, they're fighting people on their own borders. Done. Explained. Good.
Yeah, they're busy.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like, hey, listen, I left them a message. Hopefully they'll pick up. But it's like, yeah, it honestly could have just been explained with like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue. But yeah, also like.
Yes.
I think I'm talking a lot, so I'll let you go.
Oh. I was just gonna say you mentioned earlier Legolas like stair surfing. Still, I mean, super dumb, kind of dope. Not gonna lie. It was kind of cool. I love it at the end. Nah, okay. If you take the whole scene into account, not just that little bit, he like surfs down, kicks the shield out, sticks an orc like that, jumps down, like takes out the blades. Bro, when he takes out the blades, I get excited because he is so cool with the blades.
Well, later he takes out. Right then he takes an arrow out and like stabs an orc through the neck with it, which is cool. But then, 20 seconds later he takes the blades out. But when like so they all start with this scene. This gets me every time. I don't know why. They start like falling back, and like it pans up to a shot of like Aragorn, like it's like the front of the wall, and then a little bridge to get back into like the main gate.
Yeah.
And like Aragorn stops and like kind of pushes Gimli in, and then he runs behind him, and Legolas is behind him, followed by like the rest of the army. And Legolas is like slowly continually shooting the arrows, like slowing everybody behind them down, and then he finally goes through the door. This is just a really specific scene that's just funny. And then the orcs come up and like meet them at the stairs, but like they beat the group of men because Legolas took so slow. So like the orcs have taken over all the stairs, and then the guys come in, and I'm like, you just screwed like
Really?
100 people.
I didn't even notice
To
that.
shoot like 2 arrows.
That's
Yeah,
really
I just
funny.
like see it every time, and I feel like because like this whole scene they use like that program that they made, like
Yeah.
that we talked about last time about like the orcs and stuff. Which if you pay attention, you can see it just like if you look at the orcs when there's like a shot of like what you're supposed to focus on is like them going up ladders or like a big pan, and you look down at the orcs, some of them will just kind of be like moving like this towards like a ladder really slowly.
Yeah.
Or like I saw one where like it looked like he was just running at the wall, and it's just like I mean
I-
at that point it's whatever.
I read like I didn't read an interview. I saw an interview that Peter Jackson was talking a little bit more about this like thing. I don't know if we mentioned this last time or not, but like they basically just like put stuff into a like computer program and just kind of like let it go, and they just kind of like did the thing. Like they didn't even like go in and were like, all right, this guy's gonna fight. It was just like, all right, characteristics. These are the characters for like the good guys. Go, and it was just like film what happens. Like literally, that was like that's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like total like they basically made the program for like Total War games where it's like you can control like different armies, and then they just like you know kind of make them fight, and then the computer just like makes the animations happen. Yeah, but like. Yeah, I think they also made it so like you can select out individual ones if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And you can also go POV of that one character. Yeah. But yeah, I mean they literally made their own freaking program.
They had
really
to
cool.
They had to make the orcs dumber so they would actually fight. Otherwise they'd just run away.
Yeah. Yeah, or like more courageous, I think, or something. But which is really funny. But yeah. So they get pushed back to the castle. I was actually paying it for some reason. I didn't really click with me before as like a child, but like watching this now, I'm like, dude, there's like 20 of them left.
Yeah.
Like in total when they're in that last room. There is none of them.
Dude, what about the bridge scene?
Oh my gosh.
What about the bridge scene when he tosses Gimli? Okay.
That's a stupid scene.
Okay, it was kind of funny when he was like, "Don't tell the elf," and then he like hucks him across. Like that was kind of funny.
Yeah, like I don't hate the scene. It's kind of cool. But it's like, if I'm actually watching, it's like these 2 people just take on like 1,000 orcs walking on this. And then, when like Legolas like throws him a rope, one guy just, instead of killing them with their back turned to him, instead of killing them, he just goes and like hugs them. And just gets like kicked off, while the rest of them are taking the longest time to run up to them. And then they grab the rope and start climbing up. And then the people on the bridge just forget about him. And nobody shoots an arrow at these just stagnant people
that's facts.
holding onto a rope. I'm like, what? They're just like invincible, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, but
dude,
whatever.
Plot protection, dude.
This scene was really cool and it was funny, and I like still like it, but like it still adds to the plot protection thing, and I'm just like, ugh, whatever, man. But yeah,
looks like they're all gonna die. Then they like ride out on horses, and right when they do that, Gandalf shows up again finally after everyone nearly dies with the Riders of Rohan. Yo, that incline was like.
Yeah. 20 degrees. Things cracked. My goodness. Less
20? It was like 85 degrees, dude.
No, it was like they're running down a steep like this.
Yeah, dude. 90 is straight up, dummy.
Yeah, I know. I said they're running down an acute angle. That's how steep that was. I was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I was very confused.
So this is it was probably like what, 110, like that.
Yeah, it was.
20's like this. So somehow they're running down this way.
Yep.
Making a joke. But okay. One thing though that I just thought about now, because I'm intelligent. A lot of this movie, like, I think this is probably like a theme. Not a theme. Like, there's a lot of characters that, or a lot of times in this movie, I think more than the first one, where characters like Will is kind of like broken. Also, we completely just skipped the scene where Isengard is taken over. I completely forgot about that till right now. But
unimportant.
Like right here, like the king is like lost hope, right? And he's like, what is this? Like, darkness is gonna win. Like, we've lost. This is like useless, right? And then then Aragorn's like, yo, shut up. Let's go ride out again. And like, kind of like his like will is broken. At one point, like, for a split second, I guess, like the will of Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli are broken when like they go to the burnt pit and like they think that they're dead for a minute, and then like they see the trail. And then with like Merry and Pippin, like Merry was like super about like you need to help, like Ince, like come on,
Yeah.
like help us. And then like they say no, and that scene also like just talk about the scene with Merry and Pippin when Pippin's like, like at least we have the Shire, but then Merry's like, there isn't. I actually really like this scene. He's like, there isn't gonna be like a Shire, like, or he says like the flames of Mordor will encroach the land, and like everything that was green and good in this world will like die or whatever.
Yeah.
There isn't gonna be like a Shire, and it's like almost like a character flip for like Pippin, where he's finally like, this is real, because like he's kind of just been like what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like where are we going? What is this? But like I mean, he was captured by orcs and almost died, but like he kind of like at this point like he was the one who was kind of like oh, it's like okay type thing, and in that moment he's like, oh, the Shire might die, and then Merry like lost kind of all hope and is just like walking his way back west, and then Pippin's like, yo, take us south, and then Merry's like, what are you doing? Like we're gonna get captured, and Pippin's like, no, we're not, and then like they just attack and win.
Yeah.
And like I thought that was really cool, kind of like the character arc of Pippin, kind of like realizing and like coming into his own like courage, I guess, to do that.
Yeah.
But I like that. I think it's a good thing in this movie.
It's a cool message, like, and again, we kind of touched on this last week, how a lot of this is probably like influenced in some way from like World War II, because that's when Tolkien like fought in and stuff. Like, he was English, correct?
Yeah.
So like it's kind of the same deal. Like the English are literally on like an island, so like, hey, we don't necessarily have to get involved in this, but like,
yeah,
probably should, because you're only on an island for so long until that island is no longer yours. So like, even though that problem over there is like not necessarily our problem at this very second, and we can just go over there and like, or we can just stay here and like enjoy peace for a while. That's coming here, so like we should probably go over there and figure this out. So
yeah.
I don't know. It was a cool like illustration, and like character development. So yeah, good points.
Yeah, and then
goes back to the battle's over. We've won. Good stuff. Yeah. And then it goes back to Frodo and Sam. I wrote Sam had a nice little speech there at the end.
Oh, when he's yelling at Faramir, or
is it bad that I don't remember?
What scene? What is it? What is it?
I don't know. I said nice little speech at the end. Even Gollum was moved by it.
Oh, I'm guessing that's when he's yelling at Faramir, and he's like, you want to know how your brother died? You want to know what actually killed him? Is because he tried to take the ring from Gollum, and he's just kind of like yelling, and I forget what else he says, or he tries to take the ring from Frodo. Sorry.
Right.
And like he says like I don't know. He basically is like, it's like bewitching you type thing. Like,
yeah,
let us go, and then like
I don't remember if it was then.
Go. But there's also like.
No, it wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. Because Frodo wasn't even there. He was like all whacked out. No, he was all whacked out, remember? Because while this was happening, the Nazgul was coming down to him. So I think it was post that, when they were let go.
Or was it the one where he's talking about the story of them? Like they're like, I mean, right at the end, Frodo and Sam are having a conversation. He's like, you think there'll be like stories about us? And Frodo's like, oh yeah, I'm sure there will be. Like there'll be like a, like Sam the Great or whatever. And then he starts talking a little bit, I think. But I don't know. Maybe that was that.
Could've been that.
Maybe you should write down quotes of what's happening, Tom.
I should have.
A little idea.
I know. My bad. My bad.
That's fine.
But
I like that little last scene.
Yeah.
I like that little last scene.
I wrote it as a good ending.
It kind of brings Sam and Frodo, like, they're kind of like off your mind for a lot. I mean, you just watch like 20-30 minute battle scene.
Yeah.
When they're like irrelevant for that whole thing, but they kind of like bring you back in with that little like touching, like, you think they're gonna write like stories about us, like what? It's almost like, I don't know, because like, I mean, people in that time, like, dog, even people in instances where they're like doing heroic things, but they don't feel like they're heroic because you're just like, no one really like knows, or like, am I doing the right thing? But it's like, yo, like, we're in this, man. Let's do this. Like, there's, people will know of us later. I don't know. And it's like, I like that.
At that point, they're also like real close, like the closest they had ever been technically, because they're at the Black Gate. But like, I just said the name of it earlier. What is it again?
The
Osgiliath.
town. I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
Osgiliath is like literally like the last like outpost right before like Mordor. So they were like as close as they had been again since the Black Gate. So like they could like see where they were going. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I think it was a good like ending just to like refocus. Like, all right, this whole storyline of like Rohan is kind of over. Like, sweet, they won the battle. Like you were saying, like we just went through like 30 minutes of like darkness and battle.
Yeah.
And now it's like, all right, like, hey, remember this is the whole point of this movie. Is like, remember this.
Yeah.
Because it is so overshadowed by the rest of this movie. Because Frodo and Sam's part in these movies kind of sucked in this one, in my opinion. It was just boring. Yeah,
no, I agree. And then they give you that little like foreshadowing of this of what happens. Gollum like kind of turning on them with his little scene in the forest again.
Right.
But yeah, and then everything that happens after that is for next episode. So.
Yes, sir.
What do you rate this film, Thomas?
You know, this used to be my favorite one. And
same, but not anymore.
Yeah, I think it's a little worse than the first one, honestly.
Yeah, I told you last week.
I know you did. I didn't believe you, and I was like, nah.
Yeah.
But I think it is not as good. It's still great. I mean, every single one of these movies won like a dumb amount of Oscars.
Oh yeah, they're still fantastic.
But how many Oscars did this one win?
No clue.
This one won 3. Best Visual Effects, Best Sound Editing, and Best Production Design. It was nominated for Best Picture. It did not win it. It was nominated for Best Sound Mixing and nominated for Best Film Editing. I know the next movie. I know the next movie won 11 Oscars.
Jeez, my goodness.
It was nominated for, I think 12 or 11. It was the biggest. It tied for the biggest suite.
That's dope.
Tying Ben-Hur and Titanic.
Wow. Oh. Well, we should give our ratings because I really have to pee because I drank all the tea.
I don't know, probably like a 8.5.
Yeah. I think that's where I'd put it as well.
Wow.
8.5, 8.3.
Do we just agree on a movie rating?
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
That's whack.
That's weird. That's never happened in the history of the show.
Honestly.
Actually, it definitely has.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, it was fun. I've enjoyed revisiting these. So we have one left. I'm excited about this one because I think the first 2 are the ones that I've watched the most, and the third is definitely the one I've watched the least. So
I'm actually excited for that one as well.
I'm ready for an epic conclusion.
Yep. All right. I think that's it for this.
I believe it is. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe button, and comment down below what you enjoyed about this. New episodes every week. Hopefully Wednesday, unless things happen, in which case last week and the week before was on Thursday because things happen. So every week, let's just plan for Wednesday. And next week, of course, join us for our conclusion to our Middle-earth series. This has been a nice 6-week project, and next week will be the culmination of all of this discussion and our nice time in Middle-earth.
Yep.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, my name's Thomas. This is Isaac. We are Brothers on Air. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you again next week. Bye!
Yeah.